Hello, this is Tony Heller from RealClimateScience.com, setting the record straight about climate. There are a lot of interesting things going on which you won't hear reported by the press today. Last summer there was a lot of propaganda in the press about record heat in Greenland. And as normally the case with climate reporting from the press, it simply wasn't true. On August 8th of last year, the Danish Meteorological Institute tweeted, "Was there record heat on the ice sheet last Friday? No. Quality checks have confirmed our assumption that the measurement was too high. The temperature at summit was not above 0 degrees either Thursday, August 1st or Friday, August 2nd. The press, of course, never corrected their fake stories about record heat in Greenland last summer. But today, Greenland may well be setting record cold. Temperatures in the center of the Greenland ice sheet were reported today at minus 64 C or minus 83 F. This graph shows temperatures over the past month at the Summit Research Station in Greenland. Temperatures have been extremely cold, most of the time well below minus 40 degrees, and now they've gone off scale below minus 60 degrees Celsius. I did a Google search to see what the press is talking about today. The Weather Channel, 2019 Arctic Report Card, near record warmth with near record sea ice losses. Inside Climate News, Greenland is nearing a climate tipping point. How long warming lasts will decide its fate, study says. And National Geographic says that Greenland's ice is turning to slush. I have a slightly different perspective than the press because I don't believe that ice melts at minus 83 degrees. I created this graph using graphs from the Danish Meteorological Institute. The graph shows the surface mass balance for Greenland over the past 3 years. The surface mass balance is defined as the difference between how much snow falls and melts off the surface of Greenland every year. On average, about 350 billion tons more snow falls on Greenland every year than melts off its surface. Last year was lower than average. There was only 160 billion tons of net accumulation on Greenland's surface. But last year was well inside of the 2 standard deviation range shown as the gray band. And the previous 2 years, 2018 and 2017, had well above average surface mass balance. In 1942, a squadron of U.S. fighter planes were forced down on Greenland's surface in bad weather. Every year there's a net accumulation of snow and ice on Greenland's surface. And during the 50 years after these planes were forced down on Greenland's surface, they became buried under 300 feet of snow and ice. In 1992, people dug one of the planes out, named her Glacial Girl, and flew her. Unlike the imaginary Greenland ice sheet, which exists only in the mind of climate alarmists, the actual Greenland ice sheet has 2 miles of ice. And the ice thickens every year. The huge weight of the ice in the center forces it to flow outwards in rivers of ice known as glaciers. When these glaciers reach the sea, they calve off huge chunks of ice which become icebergs. Climate alarmists then take pictures of the glaciers calving and claim it's due to climate change. Like everything else, climate alarmists say this is complete nonsense. Glaciers calving is a response to excess buildup of ice in the interior of Greenland. In 1912, the Titanic hit one of these giant icebergs and sank. Blaming normal geologic processes on climate change is not very scientific. Now let's look at something else which the press is not reporting on. Arctic sea ice extent is very close to the 1981 to 2010 median edge, which is shown as the orange line. The green on this map shows the huge amount of ice which has accumulated just over the past month. Arctic sea ice extent started and finished last year at a 5-year high, and this year it's actually even higher. Current sea ice extent is inside of the 2 standard deviation gray band and is not far off from the 1981 to 2010 average. It's entirely possible that extent will reach the 1981 to 2010 average sometime during this winter. And how does the Weather Channel report on this? They say, near record warmth with near record sea ice losses. Temperatures are extremely cold in Alaska and Siberia. In a couple days, temperatures in southern Alaska will be minus 41 degrees Celsius. There's very cold air blowing from the north down through the Bering Strait. This cold air and wind is causing sea ice to accumulate very rapidly in the Bering Sea. So how does the press report on the near record cold in Alaska? They call it record warmth. Like December, January is shaping up to be an extremely cold month in the Arctic, but you won't hear this reported by the press. Visit Toto on the web at realclimatescience.com. He's been pulling back the curtain on junk science and propaganda for a long time.